So you see this text message exchange and you say, hair on standing up. This isn't writing. You start digging. Um, what do you start finding out?
Well, first I say nothing. I see the text message, I say nothing, I go about as if everything is normal, and I start to then strategize and plot really of what is my next game plan? Am I gonna go for the phone? Am I gonna go for something else? And I ended up
Hmm.
turning to online communities of women who you can check with to say like, hey, does this man belong to anyone? And I went
Oh
that
my gosh, I
route.
love those. They're the pictures and they're like, anybody, before I commit to this man, anybody dating him.
Honestly, I wish we could do that like at a town square monthly every single month and just say like, "Hey, I bring forth this man. Does he belong to anyone before I, what I'm saying, like let him take me through there." Like anybody
Hmm.
claim this man. Um, but I made the active choice not to bring it up directly to him, not to say, "Who the fuck is this?" Da, da, da," like because I wanted to, right? I wanted to flip a table over. It took everything inside of me not to. But I didn't want him to
Hmm.
cover anything up. And I didn't want him alerted to the fact that I was alerted because I needed everything to stay as it was. I needed all the information accessible to me. Once I was able to connect with that community of women, the things that I started uncovering there were that he was still active on Bumble, that there were women who had connected with him on Bumble, that their spidey senses went off. And so I found that group of past women first. And when they told me about these patterns, they were telling me about a man that I didn't recognize. They were telling me about a man that I had never met. They were telling me about a man who I never thought would behave this way with women. I would never date a man that wasn't an expressed feminist, that wasn't rooted in the protection of women. So when I was listening to these accounts and they were telling me about my man, they were telling me about like they knew too much. So I knew that they weren't lying. But what they were saying back to me, I couldn't recognize because this was not the person I was told I was dating. This was not the person that I had met. Um, but that was essentially how it started. After that, it was really my own like public investigator skills that I don't have, and just using my know-how in order to find and figure out who else was involved. And after that, it has taken maybe a little over a month to find slowly but surely more women who were still in this cycle, who were like, "Oh yeah, we had broken up, but he came back for me in August. He came back for me in September and we kicked things back off again." So he was actively like as women were detaching and leaving, he was actively replacing them. My guess is in hopes of keeping his supply, right? Like he's getting validation from these women. He's getting lots of doting, you know, again, these women are smart, they're funny. I wouldn't hate spending time with them. So I do think there is a sense of ego and the feeding of his ego that these women were able to provide for him. But even now, I feel like I'm talking about it in this sort of detached way because I have to in order for my heart to be able to just like withstand the fact that the person that I loved was ever even looking at another woman. Um, I will also add that I, in my 20s, was like a toxic. I hate to feed this Latina stereotype trope, but I was a toxica for sure. Like, I at one point had, a boyfriend and I thought he was with someone. So I walked into his house, pushed right past his mom, was like, "Hi, buenos dias," and just ran right through her house into his room. Like, I was toxic. And in the conversations I'm having in therapy now, I was like, "Dear therapist, if I were still Toxica Joe, that bitch would have figured this out 8 months ago. She would have figured this out a long time ago." And my therapist had to be like, "Now remember, that's not who we wanted to be. That's not who we wanna, feel like needs to protect us all the time." I'm like, "Whatever, that girl would have had this shit on lock."
That
But
would have
because I thought
unlocked.
right. Oh, I would have exposed this a long time ago. But because, like you said, we're communicating, I'm bringing up my problems and what I have like issues with, and he's giving me the therapy speak and saying he understands, that shit didn't work. So a lot of this is like me beating myself up over like, at what point should I have known better? At what point should I have done more? But in reality, I wouldn't have been able to uncover any of this had I spoken up sooner without any leverage, ammunition, information, access, I wouldn't have been able to. So I can't say I regret any different way that I went about it. I do wish that the other women who had inklings about me, because they had stronger inklings about me, that they would have
Would have
found
said
me.
something.
That they w yes, that they would have said something. There were a few instances of, "I added you on Instagram, but you never added me back." I wanted to be like, "Girl, you could have messaged me a year ago." Like,
What do you mean?
"Damn, you
First
could
of
have
all,
saved
I
me."
don't respond to anybody adding me. Hold on, before we do anything, let's take a stretch break real quick. Ugh, get some of this energy out.
I'm dead.
So, quick question. Have you ever opened your to-do list, looked it dead in the face, and then immediately decided that reorganizing your desktop, deep diving on YouTube, or starting a completely unrelated side quest was actually the better life choice? Yeah, same. And that's exactly why this week on Basically Unbothered, we're talking about something that doesn't yell at you to wake up at 5 a.m. or just be more disciplined like some productivity drill sergeant. We're talking about A Pinch of Productivity, the secret sauce for motivation by Don Turner. Because instead of shaming you into being productive, it gives you the pinch framework: pressure, interest, novelty, challenge, and humor. Translation: you're not lazy, your brain is just bored. This is about learning how to work with your brain instead of fighting it so you can actually finish the things you keep putting off without turning your life into a boot camp montage. So if your motivation bar has been sitting at low HP for a little too long, go check out A Pinch of Productivity wherever books are sold. And maybe, just maybe, we'll finally finish one task before starting five new ones. All right, Unbothered fam, let's talk taxes for a second because I am very particular about one thing. I like to get my taxes done early and out of the way so I can be stress free for the rest of the year. No last minute panic, no scrambling, no vibes being ruined. That's why I want to put my unbothered fans onto SSB Legacy Tax Services, LLC. Samantha is a small business tax professional whose whole focus is getting you the maximum refund while making the process clear and easy. She also offers cash advances up to $7,500, $75 referral bonuses, and actually takes the time to educate you so you know what's happening with your money. And because we are all unbothered together, I'm going to give you an in. If you text unbothered to 586-345-1055, you will receive $50 off your tax prep fees. Early, easy, stress free, just how we like it. Yeah. All right. Let me finish. All right, back in. Let me just tell you, I had this one girl one time message. I'm not lying. She dislikes me because she added me on Instagram and I didn't add her back. And I said, sweetheart, I don't add anyone back on Instagram that I don't know unless you have sat me down. First of all, I don't even save people's numbers in my phones that I do know. There are people that I interact on a daily basis whose number is not saved in my phone. So you thinking that a social media app is about to have me. No, if you wanted me to be your friend, if you wanted me to follow you back, how am I even supposed to know it's you? You know what I mean? Like if that's what you want, you should have sat my ass down. I was like, hey, let's follow each other. And then I would have been like, well, yeah, let's do it. But to your point, you following me, you have what, a couple thousand? I don't know. You have a lot of followers.
Yeah, on my content page, yes, but on my personal page where they added me, I have my closest friends I've acquired over, my life, so that was my personal page. But honestly, if any woman comes to me as a woman, I listen. I'm not one of those girls that's like, "Oh, you can't tell me about my man." And hey, if you're that kind of girl and you say I'm staying no matter what, hey, stay, but at least in truth. Let it be consensual. For me, Bitch, message me, take a pic, send me the proof, give me the screenshot. I want to know. If I'm out here looking like Boo Boo the Fool, bitch, please tap me on the shoulder. Please come and get me. Please come. Don't have me out here looking crazy, in love, showing someone off, but putting him in front of my mother's eyes at her kitchen table, eating her food. If you think this man is cheating, please say something. Hello, let me hit the life alert, lightning strike, something.
You know what? So my situation, and like I said, I was in it for 8 years before I left. The last situation was the worst situation. I found out, so and you were talking about how men, when they get caught, they beg and at first they go almost ghost, right? At first they're like,
Because they're trying to figure
and
out
it,
what
it
you
could be
know.
a day. Yeah, it could be a day, a week, a month. They're just trying to their idea is let's not have a conversation. Let me just let me get my shit together. Sometimes
Mhm,
let me talk to my homies. Sometimes let me talk to my
mhm.
side chicks or whatever. But
Gotta
after
do the
that, they come
recon.
back. So
Mhm.
right. So this situation, I had just left him because he was continue on and off again with another girl. This was, I don't even know what number at this point. And I, always forgave him. He would always do she's just crazy. She's just obsessed with me. And I was so blindly, stupidly in this shit that there would be photos and he could convince me that these photos were, oh, I was just at, her brother works with me and we were all at the house together and she took the photos or whatever. I was just so stupidly in it or whatever, right? But eventually I was like, you know what? This is dumb. I don't want to do this anymore. And this is the hardest moment because we all go through this, like women who are trapped in a cycle, right? This is dumb. I don't want to do this anymore. We walk away. Hello. That is the most, and when we walk away and stay away, that part is the scariest to them. The scariest moment isn't when you're just like, man, fuck you. The scariest moment is when you stop responding to them for a prolonged period of time. Then, like you were saying, they lose their source material. They
Mhm.
lose their thing. And so begged, plead, prodded, bought me season passes to Six Flags, took me to Improv, took me to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, all buying me flowers, all kinds of shit, right? We start working on it. I'm working at Dave and Buster's. He's losing his job. I don't like working with someone, but if I give a fuck about you, I'm going to sacrifice what I want for what's better for you. So I was like, I don't want to work with you, but I could try to get you an in here. We just won't tell people we're dating. That went fine. Everything was good. All of a sudden it wasn't. Found out one day that a friend of mine, who's one of the closest friends I had there, who was also on my softball team, who had been messaging me for months talking about how we were perfect together, how we should have kids together, how they loved our relationship for more than 6 months, had been sneaking around with him. And let me be clear, sneaking around isn't the right word because everyone in our friend group knew and was party to it and participated in it but me.
I hope you beat her ass. Sorry. I know we're supposed to be empowering him. The ghetto side is like, I hope
Oh,
you beat her ass. I'm sorry.
you know what? I
If someone
have,
knows that I'm dating someone and she goes after my man, you're getting dragged. I don't care if I'm 50. I don't care. I don't care
yeah,
personally, but that's just me.
it was one of the worst psychological moments I think I've ever had in my life
It's horrible.
because
I'm so
this
sorry.
person I told when I thought I was pregnant to, and they were very happy. I found out that they cut their hair and they dyed their hair and they started wearing it curly because my hair was curly at some points just to be like me to get this man. And you know what? I'm gonna not to you, but I'm gonna say these to anyone who's stalking my fucking social media right now or stalking my Instagrams or my whatever. Fuck you for continuously making me feel like I'm wrong for talking about the shit that happened to me. I don't give a fuck if this shit happened 20 fucking years ago. The shit happened. So if you're still on my fucking Instagram after 8 years, you look motherfucking pathetic because I'm not on yours.
What you looking ass? What
That
you
being
looking
said,
ass? We see you looking with your looking ass.
they her friend and originally I felt bad for her friends because they were in a hard position, right? They were closer friends to her than they were to me. But they would go to karaoke together. They would go to Dodgers games together. They would go out in group dates with everybody else. And not a single person told me for months. And when it came out, my friends, they were like, well, we wanted to tell you and we just didn't know what to do. And, blah, 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 blah. And how'd you find out? And I just remember they were like, that situation was the most traumatic But I remember just being like, I get that she was your friend, but like at a certain point in time, woman to woman, why wouldn't you have done anything to give me a heads up? I
Like,
mean, you
send
could
your
have.
fucking pigeon, write an anonymous note, send an anonymous, like, just like I said, blink twice, anything. But at the same token, how how cruel for that to have been done to you. The person that is, selling you these dreams, that's telling you that they love you, the person that you have poured out to, it is their responsibility to protect you. It is their responsibility to allow
Mhm.
you to choose in truth. And I think that's the part that hurts the most, is that I chose to love you in so many turns. Why did you not allow me the truth to choose based off of that? Like, why did you create this facade for me? Why did you ask for a job? Why did you, like, why make things worse for me? Why bring us closer together just to knock me down? For what?
Why make things worse for me? Why come back? And I mean, there were instances where we kind of like toyed with each other. We were still friends. There was like 2 month, 3 month period where I didn't even talk to him. Like a good fucking cleaning. It was probably 3 months because I remember I talked to him right around his birthday because I'm really big on birthdays. And even if we're not fucking friends, I'm still going to tell you happy birthday because I think that everybody should care about their birthdays. And once I give a fuck about you, I'm always going to give a fuck about you. But why would you? And this is how I feel about your situation. Why would you come back into my life? Because now he's trying to come back. Why would you come back into my life if you know you're not fucking ready? I'm not a toy. I'm not something you can play with. You know,
Mhm.
don't come back because first of all, if you got a fucking harem, that means you're stacked. Like you got bitches. Play with those bitches.
Well, I took all of
Why
them with me.
continually? Oh, well, you can get new bitches.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you
And
if
to
you
me,
got
it's
your
like,
own
if you
harem the first time, you can.
that, and it's like, if you want to be community dick. Women need good dick on the drop off all the time. But again, that it needs to be safe. You got to be able to respect the girl so that, in case anything compromising happens, she knows that you at least respect her enough to be there for her in the moment. You respect her enough to offer her a meal, once in a while, but and that you're going to keep her body safe. If you want to be that. Honestly, if he would have come to me eventually and said, "Hey, Joanna, I don't want anything serious. I really like you, though. I would love to continue hanging out on some casual shit," I would have considered it. I would have laid parameters of like, okay, this is how this could work for me. Why not be adults about it and just have that conversation instead of you knowing that I'm in my late 30s, that I want children badly, and that my biological clock is ticking, and that that's something I have to be mindful of. It doesn't mean I can't sustain a casual relationship and look for a husband. Granted, that's not really where my head is personally, but other women, I'm sure,
But I
would
mean,
be
like, you
happy
can. It's
to.
possible.
But it's possible, right? And if a woman wants to pursue that in truth, knowing all of her facts, more power to you. You're able to get that. So why are you barking up this tree specifically? Why are you looking to be with someone that wants a husband, that wants kids, that's in their late 30s, that has expressed at all turns how she feels about men who treat women in this way? I have had many experiences across my family timeline where the women in my family married men who treated them horribly, who were good providers, who were decent dads, good friends to others, but they were horrible husbands. I have been looking to
Mhm.
escape that fate my entire life. The women in my family have been warning me against that fate my entire life. As a romantic partner, I shared these fears vulnerably time and time again over the fact that I'm unmarried at this late stage because I've been very intentional about selecting a husband. So for someone to come and paint a picture for me and create this mirage only to lead me straight into hell has been a twilight zone. I don't understand the rhyme or reason for what or why, especially like you said, if you can get all of these women, why not get them and have the type of relationships that you can sustain? Why ruin someone's fucking, I don't know. I don't want to say that my life is not ruined. I will be well, but he's definitely ruined this
No, I
these
get it.
last few years for me for sure.
Yeah, like, that's frustrating. Like, guys, polyamory fucking exists. Like, to be
Yes.
clear,
Yes.
polyamory exists. Like, you could
Consensually.
simply just
Do it.
ethical non-monogamy is a real thing. It's a thing that I practice. I practice ethical non-monogamy mostly because I'm so tired of men just gaslighting me into these things. I rather
No.
already put it out there that this is the situation. I mean, there's other reasons, but I'd rather already put out there this is the situation. You're going to be honest. If you want to
Yeah.
go do that, that's cool. You just got to be honest with it. We can have open dialogue about it when I don't feel like I can have this open, you know, in
Yeah.
like conversation with you anymore, then I'll probably pull away a little bit, but it can exist. I don't understand, we're talking about my man hater shirt. Women don't really hate men. They hate the behavior and the system of men, but
Mhm.
men really fucking hate women.
That's what it feels like. It does. It feels like they don't like us. Like, do you even like me? Like, aside of the fact that we like are able to have sex, like heterosexual sex that you seem to enjoy, aside from that fact, do you actually like hanging out with us? What we have to say? Do you like that we challenge you? Do like it doesn't feel that way with certain men, and especially the loudest men. I will say the quiet men that I run into in my day-to-day life, they seem like they like women just fine. I wish they took up more space. But as of late and on social media, the ones that are always in your face, it's like, bro, why are you constantly chasing after us? You don't like girls. Let's be real. You don't like us. Go hang out with your friends. It seems like you may be into butt stuff and that's not a bad thing. But maybe
Look,
you
live your
should
life.
explore that. And maybe you should explore that without letting the patriarchy gaslight you into thinking you're less of a man for wanting to explore that instead of engaging in psychological warfare with women who have literally done nothing to you, who literally want the best for you, who wish they could see you grow. Like, you do not have to do that to people.
Who, even after you've destroyed, because I want this to be clear for people listening. When you cheat on someone, you're not just destroying your relationship with that someone, you're destroying the relationship that that someone has with themselves, the relationship that that someone will have with other people. You are destroying their trust, their faith, even like things that you don't think of. Like for me, the idea that there's something good and wholesome in the world was gone. When I walked away, because I ended up walking away after so much more, right? And I stand by this because you said something earlier and I wanted to comment on it then, but you said something about they think that it'll hurt more to leave than it will to stay.
Yeah.
I want to say that when I walked away from who I walked away from, I walked away truly believing that I walked away for the love of my life.
Mhm.
I walked away thinking that I was never going like, I didn't think I wasn't gonna have fun, guys. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm always gonna have some fun. I never thought that, but I never thought I was gonna find someone who I was gonna love again, who was gonna love me again. I thought that I was gonna be a nomad in this bitch. There's a Janae song called I was just gonna be a wanderer. I walked away truly believing that. Would it have hurt me less to stay? I don't know. I really don't. I'm going to be real. If I would have let myself fall into a delusion, if I would have let us get married, maybe things would have fixed themselves. Maybe things would have changed. I will never fucking know because
I
at
think
the
we
end of the
both know,
day,
actually.
I chose, I mean, yeah, like, but
I think
still,
we
I
both
mean,
know.
like in that moment, like I had, yeah, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm going to be very clear. I'm single. I have been single for over a year. I'm not gonna talk about what the last person did to me because this story's not the time and place for that. Um, I'm so fucking happy. Like, do I get lonely sometimes? Absolutely. Do you know what I want when I'm lonely? I'm never, rarely am I like, oh my gosh, I want a partner. Most of the time I'm like, oh my gosh, I want a big dog. I'm like, but I walked away. I walked away thinking that that was it for me, and I still walked away. And there's this hard part because what we try to do as human beings, men and women, is that when we feel immense pain, we try to do whatever to alleviate that pain. And the problem when you get into these relationships is that that guy is usually the person you go to. And they do
Yeah.
that on purpose. They're usually the person that you go to alleviate the pain, to reduce the stress. For me and my family had a very like toxic, chaotic thing. We're in a better place now, but back then we weren't. And so when those things would happen, I would be going to him
Mhm.
and I would be trying to find him. And it's diabolical in that sense because they create this space for you to trust them. And then they also create this space for you to distrust them. And now you're stuck in a limbo and in an in between place. And you have to make a decision on what do you do. And
Okay.
neither of them are good. Neither of them are going to make you happy. Neither of them are going to provide you what you need.
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful for you that you had all these amazing women and you guys have formed this like relationship where you guys can be honest and open and not point fingers or feel insecurity or jealousy because that's the thing that happens all the time. You're like, oh my gosh, she's so much prettier than me, I hate her.
Yeah.
But it's walking away is never easy. It's not, and
Correct.
it's not something that I think for me, we were together for a long time and a lot of things were in it, but I think for me it took a very long time for me to really truly be okay with him not being there. I remember there was a time where I was dating this guy and we had got into a fight and he was like the complete opposite. He was so emotionally unavailable. I call him emotionally unavailable ex. He's so emotionally unavailable. And it was the thing that I needed. Like I needed someone who wasn't all up on me because that happened. And I was like, no, this can't be. And I remember it was like Christmas Eve and I had like freaked out or something. And I started texting him, freaking out on him mad because like you did this to me. Even then I was still kind of in that cycle. I knew that I couldn't be with him anymore, but you did this to me. You ruined me. I thought that we were going to have this life together. And and to me, that's the most diabolical part. Play with my feelings, sure, whatever. Play with my plans, my
Yeah.
future, the thing that is like untangible. That's the part that's like crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen Traders. But the end of this season of Traders, the one who won was a traitor. How he won was by convincing one woman that he wasn't a traitor. And how he did that was by telling her, we're gonna bring all this money together. You and I were gonna take a vacation together. We're gonna do it together. It's you. Like you don't even need to go that far to convince her that you weren't a traitor. And people commended him for the way he operated as a traitor. And I was like, that is the most wild, diabolical shit that you went out of your way to not only try to convince her that you weren't a traitor, but to promise her a life. Maybe not a life in a romantic way, but you drew a picture for her of what your life could be.
Mhm. And I think that's a beautiful lesson for our younger sisters to
Mm-hmm.
understand that words mean something in a healthy relationship, right? When we share intentions with someone, they are supposed to mean something. But it is now also a calling to you to make sure that those actions are reflective of those words every single time. If you notice that those actions are off and that person provides, runarounds or excuses that don't make sense, allow that to be a sign for you that those words and those actions do not align. That may not be enough to get you to leave in the moment, but again, write it down, revisit it. When you see the accumulation of little red flags or inconsistencies, that will at least help you develop a better relationship with your own gut instinct. Because that is another thing that these other women and I realized we quickly had in common. Our gut instincts were never wrong. It was just difficult to prove with beyond reasonable doubt in the moment that we were right, but typically your gut is telling you something. So if you can write things down, if you can take a look and make sure that those actions and those words are lining up, that his actions are consistent, you will be able to trust yourself a little better. If you educate yourself in, psychological warfare tactics, in narcissistic tendencies, in those sorts of dynamics that create trauma bonds, if you can educate yourself on those things, that is a start to at least being able to engage in a healthy relationship with someone. So that if you are in a shitty situation where you know you need to get out of, you can get out sooner. And if you fall back into the trap, at least you have resources to say, hey, I can recognize that something is happening to me. I will go read this book. I will go to my therapist. I will talk to my aunt who's been in a toxic situation before, who can tell me, a little bit more about this. But I want women to start trusting their gut instincts more and to look for tangible resources so that they can reassure themselves their partner may not be the person to do that. And they also do need to know, women also need to know that when it comes time to leave, it is going to feel like withdrawals. You will want the comfort of the person who has hurt you the most to comfort you through this loss. And that will be something you suffer through. You're not unique for it. You're not the first person to do it. You will and you can survive it. And if you go back, you'll need
Mhm.
to go and restart that process again. I think for me, that was what changed my toxic habits in my 20s as well, is that I understood that
Mhm.
every single time we had this falling out that I left, I felt like someone was killing me, like it was terrible. My heart was being squished. So I knew that anytime I went back for that high, for that roller coaster, that the low would just be there to meet me again. I would have to continue restarting that cycle so long as it took me to get out. And once you deal with that
Mhm.
cycle once and for all, you should be done. Once you expose yourself to someone who is healthy, whose actions and, words do match up, who is consistent, even if that person isn't your forever, you will start to realize that there are good, lucid people out there that are moving with good intentions and that you are safe to do so as well. But you have to start trusting your gut. You have to start practicing, trusting your gut. You have to start looking for answers, not in that person that's hurting you, but in the books, in therapy, in community with the people who love you the most. Where you feel loved, whether that be by your best girlfriends, your sister, your brother, your best, where you feel that, you need to understand, I know what real love feels like. How I love my godchildren, how I love
Mhm.
my nieces and nephews. That is real love. What I do XYZ to them? Would I allow someone else to harm them this way? No. I need women to understand you know what love feels like, whether it's because you hold it for yourself, you hold it for the children or the elderly in your life, whether your parents hold it for you. Remember what good, healthy love feels like and try to apply that to your romantic relationships because this whole fairy tale highs and lows shit has the power to go very, very low. And it's a
Yeah.
canon event for all of us, but man, if you can just keep it to one canon event, let me tell you, do that. Like, having to go through it multiple times is
You
not the vibes.
No, it's not. Um, so for your situation, and to be clear, n a situation isn't as simple as, "I found out, we ended it happily ever after." The situation has so many more nuances to it. Where are you now in your
Now
journey?
in my journey, I'm in the phase of missing the person who hurt me. I'm in the phase of understanding that the person who really is versus the person that I experienced based on the mask that he wore for me are two different people.
Mhm.
But my heart misses the person that existed for me because I entered that relationship in a healthy way. I bonded with that person in a way that felt right and true to me. So now I'm really grieving the loss of someone that doesn't exist and really feeling that whole pull of like, I want his comfort and it's not good for me and I can't have it. And I have also been doing anything and everything I know that makes me feel better. So I washed my hair last night. I agreed to do this podcast with you, even though I feel so sleepy and tired. But I know that speaking to other women makes me feel understood. It makes me feel better. So I'm allowing myself to be held by you in this conversation. Thank you for that. And I'm putting on my makeup when I can because it makes me feel pretty. And I've been making myself bouquets so that every morning when I wake up, I actually wake up with anxiety over this. I have a pretty bouquet to
Mhm.
look at, right? So, okay, I'm going to have my anxiety, but I'm also going to look at something beautiful. I've been journaling, I've been reading, I've been walking, like I'm doing everything I can. And then there are times where I can do none of it and I just have to lay and cry and feel like shit. But because I have been through huge losses before, I understand that rock bottom isn't where you stay, it's where you surrender, right? You have to let the waves of grief take you. You have to feel all of the things. I have to accept that I was lied to, but I appreciate that I went into it wholeheartedly. I appreciate that I wasn't the toxic woman that I was in my 20s, that I displayed growth. I appreciate that whenever I had issues around our relationship that weren't, stemming from anything like that, that I address them. And I am just trying my best to love myself through this, to be tender with myself through it. And I also feel like I went back to therapy as well because I felt like I needed the support and that has been so helpful. Um, but that's
Mhm.
where I am. I'm in the grief. I'm in the grief part of it and I'm not ashamed to say that I'm heartbroken because I'm a lucid person that's healthy. I'm not a sociopath. I'm not a narcissist. So I feel stuff And I am frankly also very excited because there were many other things in our relationship where I kind of felt like he was maybe cutting my confidence a bit and trying to dull my shine in ways that I couldn't see then. That now I realize like I get that back. And summer is around the corner and beautiful things are to come for
Mhm.
me. And at the end of the day, I'm smart, I'm funny, you know what I'm saying? I get a little cute sometimes. Like there's got to be a nice gentleman out in LA that's, waiting for a funny, cute Mexican girl to heal her heart. So I'll be ready for him one of these days.
First of all, I love that. Everything that you are saying are things that I wish that I knew at the time. There are things that I went through therapy and there's things that I learned. I'm also a huge binge watcher. So I binge watch Gilmore Girls. It's a
Mm,
comfort, like it was so
yeah.
comfortable. Um, but there's something that you said and I'm trying to, about like it's summer. Summer is coming. Let me just tell you, let a man ruin my summer. Let a man, like, my thought period, let a man come and take up my entire summer, and come October, they bout no, leave me in January where I can cry for 3 or 4 months and then
Mhm,
dye my hair, been in the gym in the secret for so long,
mhm.
out in the streets, having a great time, hanging out with my just don't ruin my summer. No, I mean, don't ruin my summer and don't ruin my Christmas. That's all I ask. Don't ruin my summer, don't ruin my Christmas. But
I'm in my
everything else, I
stop
think
playing with me
those are
era.
really
I'm in my
uh-uh.
stop fucking playing with me era. Stop playing. Like I am Lisa Left Eye Lopez. I am Marshawn Lynch. I am
Oh,
Cardi B at heart. Please stop fucking playing with me. We are too grown for this. Honesty only. That's where I am. I just want honesty. I want to know what I'm looking at.
I have a friend and I've told her that, like, I don't do lies. Any kind of lies. Also, my brain doesn't, like, comprehend them all the way. Like, if you have a problem with me, I need you to just I'm gonna cry because I'm sensitive as fuck, but I need you to just tell me what your problem is with me, because if you send me hints, I'm gonna be like, the problem is that I can peep game and I can feel it emotionally, but I can't comprehend it cognitively.
Mhm.
And so I really struggle with that, right? So I'm like talking myself out of it, like I feel this, and then sometimes I'm just fucking paranoid. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
but be honest with me. And she was like, you don't want someone who's always gonna be honest with you. Nobody wants that. And I was like, I the fuck do.
Mhm.
If it's gonna break my heart, if it's gonna make me cry. And you know what? After my relationship with lying, cheating ex, my next relationship, I was like, one of the reasons why I really fell for him was, like it or not, nice or not, or whatever, he was honest. And honesty is always gonna be something that I'm attracted to, and it's always gonna be something that I crave.
Yeah. I want someone who is kind and honest. There are some things you don't have to say. Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it like what is it for?
Mhm.
Of course I want honesty. I want to be able to make life decisions based on truth. I want to be able to make partnerships decisions based on truth. But if you think my shirt is ugly and I didn't fucking ask you, then keep that shit to yourself because I'm probably keeping your hairy shoulders to myself, okay? Don't be out here making critiques that nobody asked for. I like to say you like mind your own business, like, don't be in grown women business. Don't be in grown women business. So, yes, be honest, but also don't be in grown women's business. We know what we like, we know what we do. Don't no critiques needed here, thank you.
Let me tell you, I literally got into it, didn't even know at this time. I got into it with a really prominent influencer, creator, whatever he does, pop culture shit. And I'm gonna comment this. I don't care what your affiliation is, what your LGBTQIA status is. If you are a man, I will never stand here and feel like it's okay for you to comment on a woman. Mind your motherfucking business. Because what you don't understand, you're gonna be like, well, women comment on men. Here's the difference though. I don't contribute to the patriarchy when I comment on you. You contribute to the patriarchy when you comment on me.
Mhm.
Secondly, he posted this thing about how Taylor Frankie Paul isn't the Bachelorette. Miranda should be the Bachelorette. And I was like, that's gross. You're a man and you're comparing two women. Do you not see how you're contributing to what exists in the world right now? And he was like, how am I comparing them? And I said, are you dumb? You just said that one person would be better than another person. That is a comparison. Whether you have gone to school enough to understand that. But anyways, I got into it and I found out that he was like a big pop culture influencer. And like he sent people after me. But my whole statement, because he goes, as a person who follows podcasts and blah blah blah. And I said, as a or social media, I said, as a person who follows pop culture, who owns her own business, who's an author, who has a podcast, who is a motherfucking woman, it's gross that you feel the need to comment on other women's business, regardless of what you think. I'm gonna stand by it to the day I die. It's gross as fuck when other men put and insert themselves into women's business. That shit is weird.
Unless you're a guest.
That
I
shit
feel
is,
like you have to be an expressed
yeah.
guest. Are you my guy friend? Do you know all of us? Am I bringing you here? Are you going to be open
Yeah,
to
like, have you been
feedback?
invited into the
Have
fold?
you been invited? Yes. Have you been invited? Correct.
And one of, like, think about some of the worst gossip tabloid websites, social medias, everything like that, right? You have TMZ, ran by men. You had Paris Hilton, ran a man. There was another one, I can't remember what his name is. He was on Love and Hip Hop. You know, all of these men, this is the most icky part about it. Because
Cam
most of
Newton.
pop culture is commenting on most of it is commenting on women. So you're literally making money off of commenting and degrading women. And you ask me, what is my problem? What the fuck is your like, what if I don't, I truly, I'm going to get so upset about it. I truly do. I like it. It infuriates me. I do not understand the desire, the need, the whatever for a man to insert themselves into women's business. Because let's be honest, most women don't insert themselves into men's business unless they make it our business.
Unless it's to protect ourselves, to make sure that we're up on game, to make sure that we understand how to protect the women that we love that are dating. Yes, you are right. Whereas men are paying attention to our boundaries. And it's like, well, why do women have this boundary? And the women that don't have boundaries, why are they so boundaryless? So it falls into like these two categories. And it's like, you guys are obsessed with what you can acquire and obsessed with women being what you want to acquire, not her being herself, not her being whatever she wants to be, but being whatever you think is worthy of your provision and your protections. And that shit's weird. It's sick.
This shit's
Stop it.
so
You guys
weird.
sound like creeps. If I have to see Cam Newton across my screen one more fucking time, like someone take that man's mic away. Let him
Oh
just
my
be a
God.
regular citizen person that once played a sport that did really well. Let him just be that. But his type of takes are so problematic. And it makes me feel like men, all of his fans gather round. Ladies, this is them. These are them. These are all the men that follow this nonsense, that are okay with this nonsense, that never took a gender women studies class in their life. Maybe that should be my next requirement of a relationship. My man has to have had taken a gender women studies course at least once. Like I just can't be the teacher anymore. I cannot teach you feminist theory. I can't. I'm
No.
not.
This movie night. Movie night. We're gonna play this. I'm gonna go read a book, but your movie night is you have to watch this and
You're
then
gonna
come
watch
back with
this.
copious amounts of notes to show to me that you were, I there's this creator, and I'm gonna get to have him on the podcast soon, and I'm so excited about it. And he somehow stumbled on learning about women's health and women's rights and things like that.
Yes, I've
And I
seen
love
him.
this, and I love this for him. He's so awesome. He's so amazing. And when I can't wait to get him on, but like, that's what you guys should be doing. Instead of inserting your shit, first of all, fuck Cab Newton and your too tight, too short pants and your stupid ass hats. No one cares. I was so excited for you to play fucking football, and you have just reminded me why hyping up football players is never worth it, because y'all do all these things like y'all cool, and then y'all get a platform, Shannon Sharp, and y'all start doing weird wild shit. Okay.
Yep.
But like, if I like what you said, if you want to fix your mouth to talk about women and what women do and how women are suffering and the rights and the wrongs or whatever about women, you need to have studied them. And then again, men are going to be like, woo, same for here. Dude, do you not realize that all we ever studied in school was men history?
Period. Do you not understand that feminist
Like,
theory is literally driven by the patriarchy? Please, like I said, sit down. I think we should start tricking men. Like the third date, it's like, yeah, meet me at this restaurant. Just kidding. We're actually going into a classroom. Meet all of my female friends. This is a circle for your own learning. I'm just gonna start tricking people. I'm just gonna start tricking men
Like,
into it. Be like, "Don't worry, you'll like it. You'll like
oh
it.
my
It'll
gosh.
be fine."
Hey, you wanna meet my friends for the first time? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, great. How about we all meet up at this location and you take them in and you're at a restaurant and then you rented out a room with a fucking, um,
Surprise! It's a classroom.
presentation thing. You're
Yes.
welcome. That should be like a you're right, it should be a requirement of dating.
It's
And,
gonna be a
I will
requirement for my
say there
sons,
is
I've decided. Yeah. It's gonna be a
yeah,
requirement for my
yeah.
sons. I have
That
decided
that
that
is
when they want to start dating, they have to take a gender women studies course at, like, 16 when they're ready to get their first girlfriend. That's what something that my sons will have to do.
you know, I also think that's important because there are a lot of women that still contribute and defend the patriarchy, and the hard part is that those women who convince themselves that that doesn't exist or whatever, they continue to raise sons that continue to participate in the patriarchy, and one of the ways that we break this cycle, unfortunately, because women have to do all the work, is on our backs and us raising our boys and to become men, to be better. Because sometimes we can't change the generation that already exists, but we can definitely change the generations that are coming up. And I think that's why I'm so fucking annoyed by podcast bros because they're reaching out to this generation in a way that hasn't been happened before. And they're just spewing their my heart got broken by a girl, probably from shit I was doing in the first place. And now I'm gonna pretend like I hate women for the rest and it's so frustrating. You know what? I had a conversation with a younger, like a 14-year-old, and we used to have conversations like this all the time. And I love that being able, like, I can't always control how somebody raises their son, but I could always control, the people that are in my life. And having conversations about, how to be careful, what to look for. I had conversations with her about, which sucks. It sucks to have to say this. Hey, you have to be careful about this, men. For instance, we had a conversation about dressing and dancing, right? The way that you dress is not your fault. The way that you dress is an expression of yourself, and I don't ever want you to change it. But and or unfortunately, people are going to judge you and treat you, specifically men, a certain way based on the way that you dress. That does not mean that you have to change what you're doing. That just means that you have to be aware because people are going to have expectations based on this. Just, spreading some of that education, if someone got so mad at me for saying this, but when I was on dating sites, this one guy, we were kind of hitting off. He asked me for my number. I gave it to him. The first question he asked me was for a picture of me. And people get so pissed off when I say this, but this is psychology driven. If the first thing that you ask me for when you're getting to know me, when you already have pictures of me, because this is a dating site, is a picture of me, you're not interested in getting to know me. You're interested in fucking. You always pay attention to those first instances and do not let these older generation of women tell you that's all a man really cares about. That's not true. I've seen so many men who actually genuinely care about the deeper connection that they can make with a woman.
Yeah.
They exist. When we tolerate and allow this behavior, that is how we continue for it to exist like this. But always pay attention to the first instances. And it doesn't always work because men are getting smarter, but sometimes when they're young and they're not that good at it and they haven't, learned game, pay attention to what they care about. What topics do they bring up with you? Are we having a topic about my day? Or are we having a talk about how you liked me in my leggings?
Mhm. Mhm.
Are you calling me intelligent and kind and caring, or are you calling me sexy?
Mhm. Mhm.
Those little small things will tell you everything that you need to know because anyone can fall in lust, but not a lot of people can fall in.
Mhm. Yeah. And sometimes you won't even fall in love. Sometimes it really does end just at respect and care and appreciation for the other human being. And sometimes for people that is enough. That is enough to provide consent. That is enough truth to move forward, but it's still done with good intentions on behalf of both parties. Shit could still go up in shambles, but at the very least you each had the best intentions for each other. You didn't go in thinking like how can I ruin this person's life or how can I get whatever I want from this person with little regard to how it impacts them when I leave. So I think that's really important. I also think it's important for women really anyone in relationships to understand where your own insecurities lie so that when someone doles out a specific type of love that you now feel like, oh my God, this feels amazing. I've never heard this before. Pay attention to that. Ask yourself why that is. Talk to a therapist only because that exposes a vulnerability in you that someone else may be able to capitalize on. Maybe not the person in front of you, but you should start to understand why someone else is able to verbally pour so much value into you that you should already have existing in yourself. How can you nurture it for yourself? So that way, if that person stops saying those things, or if that person departs your life, you still have that validation for you. And I think that's a part of breaking these cycles for women to understand, like, you are beautiful, not because he said you were. Does it feel amazing to be desired by a gentleman that you also find desirable? Yes, it's one of like the most beautiful life experiences here. But that does not mean that you are down to self-sacrifice your time, your heart, and your psyche for moments of pleasure that you should be able to house and nurture within yourself. So that's something I also want to leave my girlies with, because we need to not be so, I don't want to say gullible because it's not, but I don't want you to be so malleable to someone else's whims, to their compliments, to their love bombing, that if it's taken away, you don't feel like you'll feel any love. No, you can do it for yourself.
Yeah, I think that that's a perfect way to end. Thank you so much. I know that this is all still fresh and new, and I know when it is fresh and new, it's the hardest to share. I can only share the shit that I've been through now because it's been so far removed that, I'm in a place where it's just kind of like, fuck it at this point. But you're sharing your real, raw truth. And that is something that is immensely beautiful. And I am so grateful that you were willing to come on the podcast again and talk about it. And I love how your concern has always been not just about let me tell what happened to me, but always about how do I help other people from getting into this situation.
Yeah,
And you are truly a girl's girl
that means a lot.
because
That
you are
means a
always
lot.
thinking about us.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for listening. This is a two-parter, which I love. I love two-parters. And I hope that this isn't the last time we see you on the podcast. So,
No, I love being a guest. So let me know whenever you want me next time. Would love to talk more pop culture stuff. So next time something big happens,
yes.
I'm in.
All right. Heard. Great. Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Gabby Gabs Podcast.